What if I told you that getting a job that's in person can actually be the best thing for your career growth? I already know you just made a face. What? In-person jobs in this day and age? Yes, I'll get to it. If you're new here, my name is the Test Lead, and I make content to help you on your software testing journey. Today's topic is how working an in-person job can actually help boost your career growth. And for context, I've worked fully remote jobs, hybrid jobs, and in-person 5 days a week jobs. So I have experiences in all the different types. For the sake of this video, we're going to focus on getting a hybrid or fully 5 days in person. And you might be saying, well, why? Are you some evil person working for the man that's trying to brainwash us? No. I know there's benefits to working remotely. Like I said, I've been there. My current job is hybrid, so I'm doing both in person and remote work. Being fully remote is amazing. You're not tied to just one place or one location. You can multitask. My favorite part about being fully remote is not commuting. Living in a place like New York City, I spent an hour plus each way commuting. So that's a lot of time being taken out of my day. At this point, you're probably like, well, you've made no case for going in person then. You just went through some benefits of being fully remote. But for those who are chasing career growth or just new to the field, I strongly suggest getting a hybrid or fully in-person role. And here's why. Easier learning and skill development. The first reason is immediate feedback and support. If I have a question and I'm working in person, I go to that person's desk and ask them a question. If I'm working remote, especially at a new company where nobody knows me, if I send them a message on Teams or Slack, it may take them 5 minutes to answer, 5 hours, a couple days, especially if they don't know you. You're at their mercy for when it's convenient to them. Whereas, if I want to ask John, what's this database query about? I can just walk over to John's desk and get an immediate answer. And at first, that might not seem big to you, but getting an answer in 2 minutes instead of waiting helpless if I'm remote, that gets to you. Especially if you're new, like I said. The next benefit, the actual on-job training and knowledge sharing. If I'm in a meeting with a group of my peers virtually, if you're not talking, you're probably on mute listening and probably half paying attention. If I'm in a meeting in person, I'm forced to pay attention. I can't be multitasking while my boss or someone else is speaking in person. When you're first starting out, there's usually some onboarding process. Getting that process in person with a live person to actually, hey, no, do this instead. Oh, go here. Let me show you in person how to do this. Versus I'm stuck virtually. Let me try to call the help desk or IT support. Or call my boss. Or my boss is busy. Or that person is busy. Once again, I'm stuck being helpless. When you're in person, you can immerse yourself with your coworkers. If people in a desk next to you are talking about a topic, you can eavesdrop and hear it. That information may be beneficial to you later on. That way, if your boss is explaining something to your coworker that's sitting right next to you, you can hear it. That way, 5 minutes later, you're not asking the same exact question. They can say it once, you can overhear it and say, okay, now I know the answer to get to that part of the process. The reverse can also be true, where your coworkers are stuck on a problem and they're talking about it and you overhear it and you're like, I know the solution. You can just walk over to them or look over and give them the solution. But those conversations can only be had because you guys were in person. If you were remote, you'd never heard that conversation because you weren't invited. So having this environment of free-flowing people, ideas, and knowledge in one common space can be very beneficial, especially when you start coding. I may have a problem where I'm stuck on the best way to do something. I can ask a senior person to just look over my shoulder instead of just messaging somebody 100 times a day. You feel like you're annoying them because you can't see their body language. In person, if I ask a question and somebody has negative body language, okay, I'm not going to ask them again. Virtually, especially because many companies with people don't share their screens. So I'm talking to somebody and I see just their name. I have no idea if they're mad about my questions, happy, indifferent. So I don't know if I should just keep going back to them for questions, should I stop asking questions, or what to do. But being in person, you see those social cues. It's also easier to build strong relationships. Back in my consulting days, I worked for this company or that company and always build a relationship. Then, years later, when I need references for a new job, I reach back out to those people and say, hey, can I use you as a reference? They've met me in person, they know my work ethic, they're always like, sure, no problem. And I know it might sound crazy, but there's a chance that you may actually like being around and talking to your coworkers. You may even consider some of them friends. I know, crazy thought. But if you never actually talk to them or see them in person, you never get to know about them, their personality, their life. It's strictly business if it's just remote. And if you don't want to get to know your coworkers, if you want to keep it strictly business, that's up to you. Quick break. If you're enjoying the video so far, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you need help on your software testing journey, check out my website, thetestinglead.com. Now, back to the video. Next, which I think is big, enhanced job security. There'll never be 100% job security, not in today's world. Maybe 20 years ago when things are more simple, but in today's world, you can enhance your job security by being in person. As harsh as it sounds, it's a lot easier to fire somebody that you've never met or built a relationship with. And that's what happens when you're fully remote. If you're in person, you say hi and bye and have conversations with your leaders and senior people, you're going to build a bond with them. So they have to fire somebody and y'all both have the same skill set, but they actually know you as a human being versus the remote employee who they've never met, they have no ties to. Who do you think they're going to pick? So by physically just being there, you're actually building a relationship. And now for the most important part, advancing your career. Increase visibility for promotions. When it's time for promotions, your relationship with different people, senior people, your team leads, and so on becomes important. And it's easy for them to overlook or pass by a fully remote employee because they only see them or talk to them when they need them. If you're in person, even just twice a week, they're going to physically see you and be like, oh yes, that's Justin. And they're going to know who you are and build stuff with you. Next, mentorship. I always preach, get you a mentor. I indirectly do this at every job that I do. I try to find people who are more senior than me or people who are at a title or stage that I want to get to. And I would just pick their brain, ask them about their career journey, maybe go to lunch with them and just talk to them. It's harder to get a mentor virtually because we're human. We're meant to interact in person. Technology helps us to interact with people who are further away, but getting in-person interactions is always most beneficial in my point of view. This also helps with building a strong professional brand. Consistent in-person presence helps to build a strong professional brand with your organization. Your reliability, work ethic, and contributions are more likely to be acknowledged and remembered by colleagues and superiors, which can positively impact your career trajectory. Like I said in the beginning, I understand fully remote jobs is everybody's dream. You probably got sold on that before you entered the industry. Like you can have a fully remote job working from the beach. But if you're just starting out or you're focused on career growth with a company, being in person, hybrid maybe 2-3 days a week, or fully 5 days in person may be most beneficial for you in your career. If you have any thoughts, comments, or suggestions for future videos, leave them below. And most importantly, don't forget this, learn something new today.